Hello, everyone. Welcome to Records and Rants. We have a fantastic show for you today. You're really going to want to listen to this one because today we discuss the famous band Tame Impala. Do we hate them? Do we love them? I mean, regardless, this will be my first time listening, and I was kind of shocked at what I thought about this, so you guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned and listen to that. And we also have to hear what my co-host, Dixon, has to say. How are you?
Nice, great to be back for another edition. Also, sort of my first time listening to Tame Impala. I've heard songs, but nothing really extensive.
Really,
yes.
You know, for someone who is so well versed in literally all of music, I'm very surprised that Tame Impala has not really crossed your radar. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, very very small blip on the radar. Like I said, I've heard their stuff, but nothing crazy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm like super excited to get into this because it's, like I said in the beginning, and I don't know about you, but I was shocked at what I thought about this because I had some preconceived notions, and we'll get into it. But I don't know how you came out thinking about this.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked as well, and it was kind of interesting to dive into their catalog because we kind of had a list of everything. Current seems like it's their most popular, most cited work.
Yeah,
we kind of took a sampling from everything.
Before we start, we'll mention some comments that we got from last time, like we do every single week. Yeah, so this one is from David Prince 918. He said, "What a pleasant surprise to stumble onto this channel. You guys are great." So, David, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. That was on our "The Smiths Are the Greatest Band of All Time?" video, and I think a lot of people really seem to like that video, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of traction on that one. That was probably one of my more favorite ones.
Yeah, it was good to kind of revisit the Smiths and to introduce you to the Smiths as well, which was kind of cool. And I really like David makes a really good point. Let's not forget that Johnny Marr is one of the greatest guitarists of all time, which is pretty interesting. I think he kind of had that signature sort of new wave British punk, British pop riff that he kind of really coined. And he said he has released some surprisingly good solo albums where he is also the singer. So it's something worth checking out. Johnny Marr, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite things, too, was the guitar riffs throughout all of the Smith songs. So, yeah, he does have a good point. But, yeah, thanks, Dave. We really appreciate it. I hope you're listening right now. And another one here. Yeah. I'm not just picking out ones that people said that were great, but this other guy said, "Just discovered your podcast. Good work." This was 3 weeks ago by Richard Lee, but I don't know if we ever brought that one up.
Shout out to Dick Lee. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, no. So that's just some of the comments that we got. I don't know if you had any, Dixon, or I don't. That kind of covers all of them.
That was it, and we welcomed some brand new subscribers in the last week that we spoke, so that's really good.
Yeah, up to 38 as we speak. I love. I'm going back and forth with Dixon. I'm like, oh my god, we're up to 35. We're up to 36, 37. It's gonna get to a point where we just can't even count because we're gonna have so many subscribers. But seriously, we really appreciate everyone.
Aren't you happy that you got here before?
Wow.
The big rush. And you've been here since the beginning. All y'all out there, shout out to you. And thanks for sharing it as well.
So yeah, I guess we'll get into the big topic of this video. Huge. Yep. And that is Tame Impala. And what we thought about it, because again, this was my very first time listening to it, and I had some preconceived notions, and like Dixon said, this was kind of his first time getting into it as well, and we listened to a smattering of songs.
Right.
I think it was what was the list title, Dixon? I think it was the best songs of Tame Impala.
Yeah, best songs of Tame Impala. The YouTube is fun stuff.
Yeah,
and it looks like the user updates it pretty frequently. It was just updated yesterday too. So shout out for this collection because it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, we'll have to link it. I'll link it down so people know what we're talking about when we go through it. But yeah. So I guess let me just start with my preconceived notions about Tame Impala because I had a lot. Because I originally thought that this was just some shitty indie band. That's all. And I thought that it was just popular because they were popular. You know those kind of bands that are just like everyone listens to them, so they're popular. Yes. Like they don't have to be talented. It's just like they just exist and people listen to them, and,
Right.
and they're popular. I can't really think of an example right now, but that's what I thought that Tame Impala was. But what I got was was so confusing to me. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I was so confused listening to this because it was completely different than what I thought it would be. And as I'm listening to these songs, it was I'm just gonna come out and say it. It was kind of like hit and miss. Like I love some songs, but other songs I was just like I don't know. And I really hate to say this. I'm not trying to bash any Tame Impala fans, but I'm just saying it was very hit and miss, which is strange too, because I feel like a lot of these songs kind of sound similar. I'm gonna stop bashing, Dixon. I'm gonna ask what you kind of thought. I'm not trying to bash. So just take the mic away from me, Dixon. What did you think? We're gonna get so many hate comments right now immediately.
Just tuned in. Oh, what are these guys all about? Yeah, F Tame Impala. You stupid indie band. So Tame Impala, they're based out of Australia. The sort of the mogul, the MC, the leader is Kevin Parker, and Kevin Parker was in a band called Pond before and also concurrently. And so I guess the question I really have is, are Impalas really that aggressive?
I never even thought about this. It's kind of redundant.
Kind of, yeah. Well, yeah. What's that word? Like, it's like jumbo shrimp. What's the phrase? What's the word? Oxymoron.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Impala. I mean, it's interesting. And from a vinyl perspective too, Tame Impala has only had, I think, 4 albums from 2010 to 2020. Yeah, they have a ton of vinyl releases, limited releases, one-offs, collections. Like, you could have, I've seen videos of guys with a Tame Impala collection of vinyl, and it's pretty significant for only having 4 albums in their catalog.
I have to say, it doesn't. Just listening to this kind of music, I could kind of generate what these kind of people are like, and the fact that they release a lot of vinyls, that doesn't surprise me.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think initial impressions. It reminds me of almost like a psychedelic Panic at the Disco.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exact. I said this is like psychedelic indie music. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, you have that elements of alternative rock. You get like a Beatles vibe, like a Sunshine 60s Beatles vibe, right?
Yes, exactly. It's that's what I'm saying. It's so confusing.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking too. I just wrote literally I was listening to a couple songs. I wrote down just 90s grunge, synth, psych, chill wave, lo-fi, but it's also massive and has layers in the production, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's a very big sound. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely that indie, but it definitely, like you said, that indie college vibe. My initial impressions were the songs are kind of long, and you can't understand the lyrics all that well.
Yes, that's a note I have right here. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. I do almost every song. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know, because it's like there's so many layers, so many effects going on, so much reverb and distortion and delay. It's it's very difficult. Yeah, I totally agree.
Right. Yeah, there's a delay in that distortion, which really plays into it. And then you have like I said, that 90s alternative guitar riff in the background, and then you have a really indie college type drum beat happening, like a consistent drum beat on some of these songs, and you said before, which I think is spot on, all the songs are kind of the same, and it just seems like the tempo changes and the vibe changes, or his tone of his voice changes, but overall the structure seems like it's pretty much the same, with lyrics that are kind of I would be willing to get they write the music and then write the lyrics afterwards.
That's kind of what it sounded like to me too. Yeah. Like when you're listening to the structure of it, right?
Yeah, surprisingly, there was one song on that greatest hits quote a compilation, and it was a live track, and I'm surprised at how well it translates live. And by well meaning that if you're listening to Tame Impala studio, it pretty much is dead on live. All the sounds are replicated. They have a track going. In the vocals, it's still that same sort of distortion and same type of pitch and tone on the vocals, which I thought was pretty interesting, which I wouldn't think would happen, when I was playing it live.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you listen to that, it's like, and when I was listening to some of the studio stuff, I'm like, how is it possible that this translates over? Because in my head, when I listen to the studio for the first time, and I don't even know what the band is comprised of, I'm like, there's got to be a guy with like 80 synths up there. Like I'm just picturing a bunch of synths and drum machines just everywhere. I'm like, this band has to have like 20 people, because like we said before, it has such a big sound.
It does, yes. It's a lo-fi vibe, and we talked about that. We talked about that at length, I feel like, but just such a massive like production. And heavy on the synth, heavy on the distortion, and I made a couple notes on a couple songs.
Okay, I can't wait to hear these, because I did as well. I picked some out, and
good.
I got a lot to say. I did have some favorite ones, and there was some that I was just like I don't not vibing with it. So yeah, what songs did you make notes on?
So I looked at, I thought "Let It Happen" from Currents, and you hate to be a cliche, but I thought that Currents, the stuff that we listened to from Currents, was pretty good. Decent, if you're going to go with their catalog. And I thought "Let It Happen" was the highlight of it, and it just so happens it was at the kind of the very beginning of the compilation we listened to, and by the 21st song, by the 15th song, I'm like, okay, I felt like I've heard this song already like 16 times.
Yes, that
right.
Yes, no, Dixon, I'm in total agreement with you, because it was, by the time getting through these songs, it was like an endurance marathon. I think that I'm not. I mean, please, Tame Impala fans, don't tear me apart. But it truly, for someone who's coming out of nowhere and just saying, okay, let me listen to Tame Impala for the first time, it's an endurance to listen to all these songs. I could, but at the same time, I could totally understand if I could be in a certain mood to just sit and chill out, vibe out to these songs, but when you're listening to them and analyzing them, it's like, okay, I've heard this one before. Okay, I'm kind of done with this. It's like, I hate to say I skipped through some, but
and it'd be interesting to see what they look like with the band, because we didn't look at any like live videos. We just listened to some live tracks. It'd be interesting to see what the actual band, how their lineup works and how it looks and who fits in where and how they make the sound come together. Because I think that's relatively easy. Maybe it's not easy. I shouldn't say that. I think when you have, songs that have a chord progression, that have lyrics written, you have certain, say, beat drops, if you want to say that.
Right.
It kind of is easy to make that all flow together, and kind of where it fits in. I feel like you could be in Tame Impala and be playing a totally different chord, totally different key, something totally off, and nobody would really even notice. Like,
Absolutely. It's just because of how it all kind of melts together. But to go back to what you were talking about with "Let It Happen," I really like that one, because it took elements, like you said, of like lo-fi and kind of like vaporwave almost, and and more beats. It almost had like an EDM. Well, not really like an EDM that you see at like a festival, but like the drums that they were doing in there, and the beats and the mashups and that kind of little glitching part where it keeps repeating. It sounds like the CD skipping. I like that stuff. I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm like, okay, this is something unique. This is
it's kind of cool.
Yes, it's cool. It's like, okay, this is a different band. They're doing something different. And I really enjoyed that.
Reminds me of kind of like the Flume brand of EDM, where it's kind of more or less a backing track and then layered with, some keyboard and things like that.
Yeah, and I likened it to, now I know no one's gonna know who the hell I'm talking about. If you don't, please validate me and just say you know who this person. Even if you don't, just say yes, I know who George Clanton is, because that's what I thought of when I was listening to. It was
name rings a bell, but I don't know who that is.
He's I can't even explain. It's very underground, kind of vaporwave, kind of like. He uses like sounds from like Windows 98 and stuff in his music.
That's kind of cool.
It's really interesting. But he also like rocks out too. He has a drummer on stage, but he plays these tracks in the background. I really enjoy that kind of music though. But yeah, if you know who George Clanton is,
check it out.
shout out to George Clanton. But yeah, he but yeah, the
I
song.
feel like you mentioned it before. That's all.
I definitely have. His girlfriend is Negi Gemi. If anyone knows who that is, Negative Gemini.
That's a nice name. Okay.
It is, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. But Let It Happen, the song Let It Happen and Nangs really.
Nangs, yes.
Yeah, they
Nangs
really. I liked it
Sure.
because it was, but it just reminded me of George Clanton. I'm like, okay, I like this music. But as we started to go past those songs, I'm like,
Right.
it started to get, like you said, that retro vibe. It was like I was listening to the Beatles at some points, like you just said, but they just had all these synths over them. So
yeah, and it's exactly. And when I got I think I got to the point where like I had enough. It is not meant to be. I just that was on their 2010 album, Inner Speaker, and I think it's actually was a bonus track on the 10th anniversary edition, which is like $100 for the vinyl gatefold box set. So they have a ton of stuff. I just feel like it was like chaotic sensory overload. Like you kind of like was like tin foil like coming together and like being like crunched. Like it kind of like bugged me a little bit. Like I had to stop listening to it for a second and kind of reset and then go back. And it's funny because one of the next tracks after that was 41 mosquitoes flying in formation. And I'm thinking, boy, this sounds and feels like 41 mosquitoes flying in formation into my eardrum.
They really nailed it with the naming on that one. I mean,
like, literally what it was. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing?
But you're right. It's at some points it's sensory overload, and at some points for someone who's just coming in and having to listen to these songs to analyze them in a long span of time.
Right.
It does get a little too much at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that also has to do with the fact that they all kind of sound similar.
Definitely. And you mentioned this before with the Grateful Dead, whatever version you're talking about.
Yeah.
You listen to a couple songs, okay, I could take it. And then when you're stuck in a car, probably actually a Jeep or a Subaru.
Yes.
5-hour road trip, it's like, okay, like enough's enough already. And that's kind of what the vibe I get. I think there's things you can appreciate, things you can take away, certainly from a production aspect, but over and over to listen. And there's people out there, and we know a few of them, that make Tame Impala their entire musical personality.
Yes.
It seems like it must be a difficult job.
I know, right? That kind of harkens back to the fact that, like, are they just popular because they're popular? But I say that, but I really don't think so. I think there is a lot going on with the production. I think there's a lot of talent here. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the fact that it all kind of sounds similar, and that might not necessarily be a bad thing, but again, it's a little overwhelming. But yeah, I heard about Tame Impala from some people we know, but that was way back in like 2013, and I just never paid attention to it. I'm like, oh, okay, Tame Impala, whatever. I've heard of them before, I think.
And that was the whole thing, is like, growing up, you and I, like, basically around young white people going to college in the mid 2000s, 2013, 2012. Tame Impala was everywhere. It's on t-shirts, it's on posters, it's you see it everywhere, not a very I would say diverse fan base, because they all look alike, they all sound alike and talk alike, they all have the same kind of vibe. So, that definitely was like something that, like, I'm like, okay, whatever, like I get it. And then I heard it, and then I'm like, I guess I really don't get it, but maybe I do. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, coming away from all of this, I feel like it's a mixed bag for me, because some songs I enjoyed thoroughly, like I really did. Other songs were just not for me. And then again, as it went on, and this could be just an after effect of the fact that I listened to so many songs in a row, I wasn't feeling it anymore. Like if I had this on vinyl, I don't think I'd be able to listen to both sides of it, just because.
And
it's frustrating, because it's not that I don't vibe with the songs. It's just like you said, it's sensory overload, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's weird, because like I appreciate, like, I listen to Sirius XM EU, and they have like kind of that obviously, indie college heavy rotation. I like Yato, who's like one of those like background music DJs. I like Marcus Schultz, where his shows are like 18 hours, and there's not too much of a progression there, but there's something about that I can handle and I can appreciate. Not that I can't appreciate Tame Impala, but I'm like, at some point I get into it. Like I enjoy it, and I like where it's going to go. And it was like the opposite of trance stuff. It was like the opposite of trans and trance music.
Hmm.
That was like the exact opposite. I'm like, okay, well, where are we going with this? Almost, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's like a lot of these songs kind of drawn, and you're waiting for that big like to get up to something to reach a point, a crescendo, if you will. But
Right.
the songs kind of just drag on at some points, and it's just like, okay, well, and then it just ends, and it's like, okay, we didn't get anywhere. It's just the same thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And we like you said, we kind of went into this as we always do with an open mind. And the
Yeah,
question was, is, are we going to really like this band? Are we going to love this band? And one of the angles we were thinking of is this, they might be awful. We don't know.
no, right. I was here's the one thing I could say. I was going into this, and I really was, because I had so many preconceived notions. I was ready to tear this apart. I was ready to come out and say they suck, they're overrated, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But again, I really do think they're super talented. I think there's massive amounts of production going on. I think the fact that they perform this live is amazing.
Yes.
It's just too much of the same.
Yes.
I think that's what it is for me. So again, coming away from this overall, I think Tame Impala, for me at least, is a mixed bag. I think some of the songs are fantastic, and I could listen to them probably over and over again. But when I listen to different songs over the course of the time, it's just like what you said. It's like, haven't we just heard the song before, or
Yes.
is it on repeat? And then you
Yes.
look down, and it's like it's a different song. It's like, well, okay, this is it's
Yes.
I wish there was a little more variance, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
that's me being nitpicky, but I don't know. What do you think overall?
Yeah, I think I'm not afraid to say I think that Tame Impala is a little bit overrated. I really
Oh
do.
wow, okay.
I'm not afraid to say that. I think they're a little overrated. I think um, your key points are spot on. Very talented, good production. Like what they're doing with the sound. A lot of things I liked, but overall as a band, I don't think I'd run out and buy tickets to see them. I don't think I'd run out and get their latest collection. I think that there is that element that they're popular just because they're popular, or because they're indie, because they're underground.
Right.
I think there is that element as wacky as it sounds, but there's a whole psychological component to that, and that's true. That exists.
Oh, you
So
100%.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. I just think. And I appreciate stuff like this, as do you. I just didn't hit. It just kind of missed the mark for me.
Yeah, I think overall I'm in the same boat as you. I think it just kind of
Yeah.
missed the mark, and I mean there's so many there's a lot of good aspects about Tame Impala, but I can't, like you said, I
Not
can't
redeeming
picture.
enough.
Yeah, not not
Yeah.
not not redeeming enough, unfortunately, at least for me.
Mm.
I think I might, if I was at a festival and they were playing, I might go to see them just to see what their performance is like out of
See what it looks like.
curiosity.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I don't think I would go out, buy a vinyl, go say I have to
Hmm.
go see them again. I mean, I'm open to change. Maybe their live performance is amazing, and it might open my mind to more. But from what we saw here, the list of songs we went through, listening to what was it, like an hour of songs? It was.
Yeah, hour plus. Some of those are pretty long.
Oh yeah, yeah, a little dragged out, like we said. But yeah, overall, it's just it was a confusing affair, I guess you could say. And you know what? I'm
Confusing
gonna
is a good way to put it.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my overall rating though here.
Okay.
So like out of 10, if I
Yeah.
had to rate Tame Impala overall, I'm gonna say a 6.5. And the reason for that is that
Wow, that's pretty generous. I feel like for
real
you.
okay. I think
Yeah.
I think they're above average. Okay,
Yeah.
I like.
Absolutely. That's true. That's true.
Yes, they're. I
Yeah.
think they're an above average band for sure. I just think they have the talent, they have the production value, but I think when you look at a discography, if you're looking at an album and listening through the whole thing, I think it's a lot of the same, and I think it's kind of an endurance to listen
Mhm.
through, despite the fact that it's expertly put together, and it
Right.
has a lot of different things going on. It's very experimental almost. It's
Yeah.
not something that a normie would hear or listen to. So
Right.
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like my mom's
Yes.
not gonna know who Tame Impala is, or she's
Right.
gonna listen to the music and be, what the hell is this? So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 6.5. I don't want to even get into the sevens. I think 6.5 is where they're at for me. Above average, but just not quite there.
It's funny you said that's a really good comparison, because like there's like those bands that have that radio play crossover mainstream appeal that sound the same, like Coldplay. I think like U2 has those elements. That people would understand. You heard of them, and I guess that hasn't necessarily translated to the top 40. Not that that's to say anything from Tame Impala, but like you said, your mom's not going to know who Tame Impala is.
No, I don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like if you play this,
mom.
if you play this, if you play this for anybody's mom, would they?
Yes.
They'd probably be like, "What is this? Could you change this, please? Could you turn this off?"
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be like there's a lot of noise. So.
That's my significant other fiance. I listened to the playlist once, and then I kind of put some other things on just to see if there was a variation. And she's don't want to get into it, but she's on the TikTok, and there's that whole generation of people who believe that they're neurodivergent and they have sensory issues and those kind of things.
Oh yeah.
Based on TikToks, and she's one of them. She might be right, but she heard one of the Tame Impala songs that was playing. She's like, "What is this? Can I turn this off?" It's like it's really hurting my ear.
Oh wow.
So there's maybe something to be said for that.
I think there's an indicator right there. I mean, if you're getting that, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I mean, the evidence is right there. I hate to say it. I really do.
So, like I said, 6.5. I think that's, I said that was kind of generous, but that's probably fair because, like you said, production-wise, the experimental elements, I like the vocals. I like how the vocals sound. Not that I can understand a whole bunch of the lyrics, but I like how they sound. I like some of the vibes on the songs. I think probably a 6.5 is probably pretty fair. I think.
Okay, so you're 6.5 as well then.
Yeah, I think I'm in that same range. I think I like your rating system. Once again, trying to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something to be said for their production and the songs they create, but not one of my favorites.
No, yeah, same as well. And yeah, that's what being objective as well. Again, we mentioned the production and the value that they have, the talent, but yeah, it's I think when you do look at that, it's just too much of the same, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mr. Impala.
Yes.
Kevin Parker. Try something new.
Yeah. Yeah. We're saying that as he has 21 million listens per month. Yeah. Try something else. All right.
Yeah. This isn't working for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's like just not my. And it's funny because I went into it thinking that I was going to really like them. Excuse me, based on what I've heard before, and it just wasn't there. So I'm glad we checked it out. And now we can finally say we've heard, I'd say, the majority of Tame Impala's catalog.
Right? Yeah. Now we can actually say that when some white person who's walking on a Starbucks comes up and asks you if you've heard Tame Impala. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. And then there's 6.5.
It'd be one of those great moments, like the memes that if you had a Tame Impala T-shirt on and somebody approached you, and that'd be great. It'd be like, name 5 of their songs. Like, yeah, here they are, and they all suck.
Yeah. oh my god!
And then that would be. I think their fan base is sort of annoying enough that they would be like, yeah, they do suck. You're absolutely right. Like,
You think they would agree with you?
I don't know.
I think they'd be like, you know what? I think, and I was just about to ask this question because I think they would be like, no, you have to listen to this. This is the real stuff.
That's also true. That's also true.
Guys, listen. If anyone's listening, any Tame Impala fans, if you think that there's something out there that would assuage us to say, oh, maybe Tame Impala is good, give us that discography, give us those songs. And we'll definitely take a listen to them, and we'll see if it changes our opinion. In my mind, though, I don't think it will. But if anyone out there wants to prove us wrong, sorry, Dixon, what were you saying?
No, I'm always happy to be proven wrong. Always happy to hear new stuff. If there's something we should listen to, drop it in the comments, and we'll definitely check it out because that might be worth a while to check out. But you never know. And here we are, a couple of Tame Impala bros, and it just isn't there.
No, we're sorry, guys, but we are open minded. We can say we gave it a fair shake, 100%.
100% fair. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Comprehensive. A pretty fair rating, I think, if you're familiar with our rating system.
Yes. Yeah. We're, sometimes we're a little harsh, sometimes we're a little generous, but yeah, I think we were spot on for that. But you know what? Everyone has their opinions, and people have a lot of opinions on what we're about to talk about in our rant today. Now, Dixon, I don't know if you.
Now, here's a question for you.
No, yeah, go ahead.
This is a question, real quick. I actually have I have a quick 30-second story about the Smiths that I forgot about when we were talking about the Smiths, and I was wanting to know if you want to hear it.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I'll put it in the timestamp. Dixon's story about the Smiths. Let's hear it. I love this.
I think you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
I had the opportunity. I was traveling a few years ago. This is pre-COVID, very very pre-COVID.
Different times.
And yes, and I was in an authentic Scottish pub, and the guy was from Scotland, and he bought a tavern to retire, and he had the Scottish pub, and it was kind of cool because they made they had haggis, they had Tennant's Lager, which is a Scottish beer on tap, which I've been trying to buy, and I just can't seem to find it. I really enjoyed it. Like they had Walker's Crisp on the as for their bar snacks and stuff. And
nice.
We got to talking for a second, and he said, "I'm going to put some music on the jukebox. You're the guest. What do you want to hear?" So I'm thinking, Scotland and stuff, and so I'm like, "How about the Smiths?" And I didn't know, but he was like a big punk fan, and they have punk shows there on occasion.
Okay.
And I said, "How about the Smiths?" And he said, "The Smiths," and kind of gave me this look. He goes, "Okay, but it's got to be early Smiths." And I'm thinking, early Smiths, they've only had 4 albums.
Yeah. How early do you want? Like the first or the second one?
I don't know why, but I had a flashback to that the other day.
Oh my
gosh, we talked about the Smiths in depth, and I forgot to mention that.
That's so funny.
I thought that was pretty funny. And I get it. The Queen is Dead. Their Paramount album that turned everybody on.
Yeah.
And they evolved from there. But I just thought that was so funny because in reality, it's not like they had this massive catalog or this 30-year career. Like somebody like the Rolling Stones, where you could hear an evolution, really, definitely. So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought you might appreciate that.
No, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. Now it's time for our rant, which there is a lot to rant about, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there is, and I just found out about to say. I think this is breaking news. We're really on top of this. So our boy, friend of the show, Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, I don't know if he's friend of the show, but yeah, hey Leo, what's up? So he has this kind of weird way about him that he only dates. First of all, he only dates. He never marries. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't want to have kids, but he picks out these very young women to date. And
yes,
and now he's dating a 19-year-old girl. This just came out.
Right.
Now, and I want everyone to keep in mind, I'm just saying it right now, Leonardo DiCaprio is 48 years old, and this girl is 19 years old. That is a nearly 3-decade difference in age.
Oh, gosh.
19 years old.
Wow. Because he was like, what was it, 21 or 23? He wasn't going above, or 24. Yeah, early 20s, he wasn't dating above that for a while.
No, like 25 and up, he will not hit. It's always been. Yeah. I think the highest that he's dated is 24 years old, I believe. But yeah.
My gosh, wow. And it's interesting to think about this because you always have this kind of image in your head of like the creepy old rich dude that dates young women. But the thing is like he might be 80. And they're like, I don't know, in their 40s or 50s, or maybe even in their 20s. But once you get into teens, like I think that's starting into disorder, isn't it? Like that's like borderline disorder, I think.
I would say so, and there's a reason that I think this. Now, here's my logic behind it. I don't know if you have any like cousins or like family members or anything. Or your friends have
where's this going?
No, listen.
Do you have any cousins?
No, I'm not talking about that. All right, listen. If you are around like 18, 19-year-old kids, essentially. I mean, they're adults, but when you
Right.
talk to them, they are basically kids.
Right.
Their attitude, like the way that they act,
Yes.
they're still not like fully developed. Now, I'm not saying if like a 19-year-old girl, if you're like 22 or something, that you can't date someone like, someone that age, but when you're 48 years old and 19, that is a completely different lifestyle that has personalities that are completely different. I mean, this is kind of weird. This is a strange thing because Leonardo DiCaprio is like a famous movie star, and I believe that this girl, Eden Polani, is a model. So I guess in the lifestyle kind of aspect, but still, like, she's 19 years old. I can't imagine. Like,
what is the conversation like?
Yeah, like what I'm trying to say is the maturity level. That is so vastly different that I can't imagine. Yes, it's legal, yeah, whatever. But just thinking of the conversations that they have, like, that's it's bizarre. I don't know. That's very strange to me. What do you think?
It's true, because the research indicates that the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25.
Yeah.
And and obviously that's you and I are possibly living proof, because some of the decisions we made maybe questionable.
Yeah, maybe. Well, who's this? The jury's still out, but maybe in retrospect, we're
pretty decent guys. I mean, we have good, good backgrounds, and we have good family support, and I guess you could say you checked all the boxes, and we still were really stupid and immature and
absolutely
just annoying,
right. You're broing out when you're in your early 20s and we're like 18, 19 years old. You're just you could be stupid, you could be annoying, you could be a d-bag, whatever. But
and it's I remember like dating when I was dating in college, and my girlfriend at the time was 20 and I had just turned 21, and even then there was a difference, because I was in a whole new lifestyle, new friends, being able to go out to bars and experience new things, whereas she couldn't. And I never owned a fake ID, and nobody that I knew ever had a fake ID. Like, fake IDs they were always a thing, but I feel like they're more of a thing now.
Yeah,
with the internet and China and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that was even like kind of a stretch, because it was like, okay, well, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm probably gonna go cold beers with my friends. And she's like, well, my sister and I are probably going to watch a movie. Like, it's like it just told two different things,
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And this might be more of an American phenomenon, because I think the drinking age is probably younger in other places. But yeah, like even in that aspect, when you're 21 and 20, like you said, that's still like a huge world of difference. Because once you start going to the bar, that's a totally different world once you're able to go out drinking and stuff like that. And then she's just home because she can't do that, and they they're watching movies with their family members.
Right, exactly. And so to magnify that, and DiCaprio was kind of like a guy, he never grew up, obviously. Like, there was just videos of him, he's in Miami, he still smokes cigarettes.
He's
kind of like one of the last people on earth that still smoke an actual cigarette.
Yes, exactly.
I think they're probably healthier for you than vapes, but nonetheless,
they probably are. Let's be honest.
He still smokes, and he's still partying, and he's like doing his thing. And where does the 19-year-old fit into this whole thing? I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I guess I get it if you're like a dude like Leonardo DiCaprio, and you could probably buy people and you have success and whatever. But as a relationship standpoint, it's like, what is your purpose? What are you doing? Why? Well, we know why, of course, but like I said, but why?
Yeah, I think it goes to the fact that, like, I mean, and this is generally a thing that guys will go for younger women, and I haven't looked at data on this. I'm not really sure why, but I think it just has to do with looks. Honestly, I think that's a big thing about it. I think women
he's dating a model, and that's it.
He's dating a model, and as long as she's not over 25, then that's all that matters. But I think women look to guys for more of a not really sure, more of like a, I don't want to say caretaker, but more of a a mature figure. So I think there's something to be said about that. But when you're going for someone who's 30 years younger than you, I think that's when we get into the issue.
Yeah, big time. And I think it wouldn't be as shocking if she were like, we're not a teenager.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is just like going too far. Like I said, if you talk to any 18 or 19-year-old person,
Yeah.
they're still immature. I don't care. You could be the most mature 19-year-old in the world. You're still kind of a kid, essentially.
Yeah, there's a big difference, huge difference.
Yeah, I hate to be a stickler on this, but again, go on the real world and just talk to someone who's younger, and you'll immediately understand. You know, if I was single and some hot 19-year-old girl came up to me, I wouldn't date them, because what is there? Again, what are you going to talk about? It would feel weird. Right. It would feel bizarre.
Yes, it would feel very bizarre. Exactly, and it's a whole different language now. Like us being in our mid-30s, approaching our mid-30s. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff that completely goes over my head that I have no idea what they're even saying, what people are talking about. And you get this from social media. You know, I don't interact with that age group on the daily or even really all that often. It's a whole different generation. It's a whole different world. And it's just I don't know why you would want to put up with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 48 years old, I guess. But if she's willing and he's also willing, bottom line comes down to it, he's dating a model, and then that's it.
Yeah, I guess that's all there is to it. I mean, but like the whole, like you said, the generational gap, stuff flies over my head too. It's all cap and bet.
Yes, cap.
Bet.
Yeah,
and bussin' on God. Like
the perm has made a comeback with young men.
Yeah, things are. I have no idea what that's about. That's everyone's got broccoli head now. I don't understand.
Yeah, what is that? That just didn't happen. That's everybody knows that's not natural, right?
Yeah, exactly.
that just didn't happen.
Dixon. I have no idea. I have no idea why you'd want to.
Amazing, and like I said, it's a new type of lingo, and what I think is shocking too is that there's all this data coming out that testosterone is at an all-time low, and fertility is at an all-time low, and there's estimates that women that are under 35 are basically we're going to be facing extinction.
Yeah, birthing rates have gone down I've heard this too.
Yeah, basically like China's like kind of approached they're at their peak population.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's basically what the trend is looking like everywhere else. And there's got to be some reason why. And who had a pretty good interesting take is Bo Burnham was on like a panel.
Oh really?
And yeah, Bo Burnham, one of the original. I don't know how old the video was. He's like one of the original YouTube guys, like that made YouTube like. Check out this funny video, right?
He was on Break.com and E-Bombs World way back before YouTube.
Yeah, he was one of the pioneers, if you will, and he has this take that when you're attached to a phone, you're attached to social media. It's all based on clicks, all based on likes, and he had like a pretty interesting phrase about how your soul is involved in this and how they're actually trying to, get to you on a different plane, not just your mental, like basically like a zombie, and how the world, teenagers don't see the world as digital. It's just that everything is digital. Like everything is virtual. Like that translates into every aspect of society.
That is,
and when you have that mindset,
interesting.
It's interesting to think that like somebody who's approaching 50 could ever even relate to that, which they can't. They just look good. Let's be honest, Leo.
Right? Yeah. That's all it is. But that's super interesting. That Bo Burnham, he's an intelligent guy. I'm gonna have to watch that because I love seeing panels where people discuss like,
I'll have to try to find it. I just saw it the other day.
Things like that. Yeah, no, that's super interesting. But yeah, so like this girl, Eden Polani, is probably all involved in that, and like how's Leonardo gonna relate to that? It's
now, I don't know. As a model, she probably already has had a long career, depending on where she's based.
Yeah, and, that's true.
Maybe there's something said for that, but basically they look good. But once again, if somebody, even if they were 21 right now, approached one of us, I don't think there'd be any ability to make a connection, no matter how good they look.
Absolutely not. I mean, at that point, it would just be purely physical, and that's it. And you wouldn't want to date. Again, I'm repeating myself, but you wouldn't want to do that because you're just so different. I can't see something like that working out unless you're a rich guy who just goes around and dates girls. Like, this girl's going to be dumped to the curb eventually, once she hits
Yeah, he
like
has no
23.
intention of making that.
No.
Yeah, he has no intention of making it long term or building a family or anything. Yeah, absolutely not.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's another weird thing. I wonder how she feels in all of this. I wouldn't say there's like a power struggle, because that's a lot of things that people, criticize, that like, oh, well, he's a rich, powerful man and she's from nothing, and there's a power dynamic there. He's seducing her, all this stuff, whatever. But I don't really know if there's a power dynamic in this situation, just because she's probably, she's a famous model.
Right. Did you see the meme? It was Dane Cook. Dane Cook ended up. Remember when Dane Cook was like the biggest thing of all time?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That'd be back in the E-Bombs world. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember how and then people eventually realized like Dane Cook really isn't all that funny. Like I really didn't think he was that funny.
No.
Like he's like the Nickelback, which we're going to get into in a future episode. Spoiler alert. It's like the Nickelback.
Can't wait for that one. I cannot wait for that episode.
It's kind of like the Nickelback of comedy, like where you kind of know where it's going.
Yeah.
And he also has a preference for younger women because he's dating a 23-year-old.
Yes.
And there's a meme that just came out. It was Dane Cook said, "Oh, I'm dating a girl that's 23," and the response is Leo, and he says, "Hold my beer." And Leo's girlfriend replies, "I can't."
Well, oh my God, are you serious? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I think it goes to, these guys, they can get the younger women that they find more attractive, but again, I just can't imagine just talking to a 19-year-old on a daily basis and like being intimate, mentally intimate with someone of that age. It just doesn't work for me. But yeah, so that's what our boy Leo's up to. I'm sure, by next year, me and you'll be having another episode rant about this, that he's dating like an 18-year-old or something. So they're getting younger and younger. I mean, where are we going with this?
Gosh, it's shocking. Like I said, that's got to be, if you're in the teens, you're on borderline disorder here. I mean, this is just getting out of hand.
Yeah, I definitely do not agree with this. So that's put that on the record.
Yeah, but on the record for future reference,
yeah.
when DiCaprio comes up again, I guess.
Because we know what's gonna happen, so everyone will know our opinion again. But yeah,
absolutely.
That's
good.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. I had a lot of fun, guys. If you're a Tame Impala fan, again, don't hate us. We all have our opinions, but again, if you have any, tell us what you think. Tell us if you think we got it wrong. If you could see where we're coming, even if you are a Tame Impala fan, if you could see where we're coming from, let us know. If you have any more songs or albums that you think we should listen to, we'll definitely take a listen to it. We'll keep an open mind like we always do here. But that's a rating on Tame Impala.
Well, there you go. That's the final word, and that's it. So hopefully maybe somebody will open our eyes one day. We don't know.
Yeah, one day. Maybe we'll see the light. But guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you could. It takes one single click, 1 single second. It really helps get our videos out there. And
you get a personalized shout out in the next episode too.
Yes, personalized shout out. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.